Opinions over who is the greatest driver never to win the World Championship can vary greatly. Many offer up the likes of Sir Stirling Moss and Gilles Villeneuve, and rightfully so. But another name that regularly features is Ronnie Peterson. Many claim that he was the fastest driver across the 1970s. High praise for an era containing the likes of Fittipaldi, Hunt and Lauda. However, unlike those I mentioned, Super Swede was unable to capture a world championship. Ronnie is from Sweden. He was born in Örebro. He was fortunate enough to be around cars from an early age, as his father was an avid racer and was particularly skilled in building cars. So at the age of 8, Ronnie had his first car built for him. As Peterson got older and more talented, the cars got quicker. Peterson made a move up to Formula 3 in 1966. He made some eye-catching results. So one Italian team was really impressed. They signed him up for 1968, and 1 year later he claimed the Formula 3 title for the team. With his great driving and wheel-to-wheel action, he caught the attention of Max Mosley, who was a co-founder of the new March F1 team. So he managed to convince Colin Crabb to enter Peterson into races throughout the year and offered a March 701 chassis as a payment. Peterson struggled in his debut season and came away with no points. Mixture of inexperience, tight budget and having to look after just one engine all year meant that his first race in Monaco, where he achieved 7th place, was good as it got. Fortunately, the factory March team had seen enough potential to offer him a seat in 1971. It was a wise choice because Peterson achieved 5 podiums throughout the year. And also, he finished runner-up in the championship behind Jackie Stewart. Unfortunately for Peterson, March team and their low budget caught up to them, and whilst the likes of Tyrrell, McLaren or Lotus moved on, they couldn't. So Peterson had to look elsewhere. He opted for Lotus. The team had just won the Constructors' title and Fittipaldi had just won the Drivers' Championship. Lotus and Tyrrell were evenly matched at the top in 1973, going up against the reigning world champion and multiple-time world champion, those being Fittipaldi and Jackie Stewart. That wasn't easy, particularly as he was still adjusting to his new surroundings. But Ronnie proved he had what it takes. He took his first career win at Paul Ricard and followed this with the 3 more wins later in that season. If it weren't for a tricky start, which saw him retire in 4 of the first 5 races, he may have well won the title that year. That's as good as things got for a while though. Fittipaldi left the team to join McLaren. Lotus 72 was slowly becoming outdated and it wasn't up to the standard. And the replacement Lotus 76 wasn't up to the standard. So Peterson stuck with the team for 1974 and 1975. He claimed 3 more wins before deciding to move on. In 1976 to see if he could find a potentially world championship winning season. His decision was to return to March. But that was also a mistake because the car was too unreliable. Then he tried his hand at Tyrrell. As we know, this car P34B, more commonly known as 6-wheeler, was a revolutionary car, but the car didn't progress much and was outclassed once Peterson had arrived. So Peterson reunited himself with Lotus in 1978. Their wing car was proving to be a masterstroke and had all other teams desperately attempting to catch up. Peterson was paired with American Mario Andretti, and they were really a good pairing. They worked well together, they were good friends, and Mario always used to say that. When Colin Chapman was asked about Ronnie, he said you couldn't change a car really quite fundamentally, and he would still turn in the same sort of times. So you would ask him, how did it felt different from before? And he would say, slides a bit more. Where? At the front, at the back, both ends. And he would say he wasn't really sure. Made me tear my hair out. Then of course he would go and put the thing on pole. So you couldn't really get too mad with him. By contrast, the experienced Andretti was an expert in setting up a car. When you consider the two had a close friendship too, it is no wonder that the duo dominated in 1978. The only drawback for Peterson was the existence of team orders. On 4 separate occasions, Andretti won a race with Peterson just behind in second, leading many to believe Peterson had the pace to overtake if he wanted so. Some even suggested that the team orders spread to qualifying, as Andretti regularly qualified on pole. Others would argue that the American was just that bit quicker. Who would have been quicker without team orders can still be argued to this day. But one thing can't be argued is that only one of the Lotus drivers finished the season. With 3 races to go in the championship, Andretti had an advantage and he went on to claim victory at the Italian Grand Prix. Peterson, though, would not leave Monza with his life. That Italian Grand Prix was perhaps the most accurate representation of Grand Prix racing in the 70s. 2 championship rivals headed into the race. One clinched the World Championship, whilst the other was tragically killed. Peterson's popularity with the fans all over the world was evident thanks to his undeniable talent and exciting racing style. The impact he had in his home country of Sweden was even clearer. Interest in Formula One dropped after Peterson's death, and the 1979 Swedish Grand Prix was cancelled. 39 years later, and we still haven't seen F1 return in Sweden. Ronnie may never have clinched the elusive World Championship. His stats may be less impressive than other greats, and he may have wasted years in uncompetitive cars. But there's absolutely no denying that Peterson is one of the most talented and entertaining drivers ever to grace this glorious sport.